Yo, what?
Time. 4. Alright, section 4.5. Real world problems. Algebraic inequalities.
No.
Alright, so we've got the phrases on 235. I'm going to take time to write them down right now. You should also be writing those down in your notes. Equivalent verbal phrases. And then their inequality symbol. So if you have at least, no less than, greater than, or equal to, at least, no less than. I'm not going to write down the greater than or equal to because this literally means greater than or equal to. And if you can't understand that when it says it word for word, then I can't help you. At most, no more than. More than. Other thing says greater than, but this is already the greater than symbol. And then I think it's just then. Well, the other one we say is less than. I'm going to say fewer than. Go ahead and pause that if you need to look at it. Thumbs up when you're good. Okay, the next section then, make sure you're keeping that in mind, but the next section says the average of 70, 75, 83, 80, and a fifth number. If you don't know what that number is, we automatically just call it a variable. What variable we want to use?
T.
T. I'm gonna move this because I don't know. Come on. I want some more room over here. So 70, 75, 83. Right? 70, 75, 83, 80. And a fifth number is at least. At least is what? What symbol is it? You guys just wrote them down. At least is what? At greater than or equal to then. Greater than or equal to what? 80. So, what we're doing here is you have to find the average of all numbers, because it said the average of 70, 75, 83, 80, and t is greater than or equal to 80. How do you find average of numbers?
Add them all up into items.
Divide by what?
Number of like numbers are.
Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers. I add them all up. Alright, well 70 and 80 is 150. And 150 and 75 is 225. This is 163. If I do 63 plus 25, that's 88. And 2 plus 1 is 3, so I got 388 total. If you want to add them all up, you can. That's a faster way for me to do it. You just find numbers that work well together. 70 and 80 work well together. 70 and 80 work well together. 75 and 63, well, we made them work. Wait, did I do something wrong there?
Yeah, I know what you did.
What did I do wrong?
You added 80 to 75.
I added 80 twice.
Yeah. So it'd just be minus 80.
I'm just gonna go back and model from the beginning. So 80 and 70 is 150 plus this is 225. So I gotta do 225 plus 83. If I do 83, let's just say I take this and I put it on here, so that's 228. And then I've got 80 left, so that makes it 308. So I got 308 divided by 5. Not 305, 308 divided by 5. 5 goes into 36 times. 6 times 5 is 30. Subtract, I get a 0, drop down the 8. 5 goes into 8 1 times. 1 times 5 is 5. And the 3, the 0 is going to come down here from the decimal. 5 goes into 36 times, so 61.6. Yeah? No. What went wrong? What? A lot.
Okay, hold on.
I went ahead and I just did this. What did I ignore?
Oh, the T.
I ignored the T. You can't ignore the T. And I don't just mean the gossip.
Shh.
That was not funny.
There you go.
That was your best one.
Thank you.
Five.
So 308 plus T over 5 is greater than or equal to 80. This is where you want to get. When you get here, everything becomes way easier afterwards. But you gotta realize, hey, and this is a word problem that said the average of these 4 numbers and another number is at least 80, right? Did it say at least or did it say, yeah, is at least. So at least, when you see that word at least, you should be thinking greater than or equal to, or looking at your, oh, okay, I have a sheet that I actually wrote down those for. So the average of those numbers and another number. So average means there's 5 total numbers, because there's 4 numbers there, another one, 5 total numbers. So those numbers added together, divide by 5, is going to be greater than or equal to 80. So that's what we did, added them all up. How do we get T by itself? What's the last thing being done to T? What?
Being added.
Nope, adding is the first thing you're doing to T. You're doing T plus 308.
Subtracted? Wait, no.
There's only 2 things being done on this side. The first thing you're doing you're adding to 308, and then you are dividing by 5. So since dividing by 5 is the last thing you do, the first thing you need to do is multiply by
5.
Yep. That gets rid of these. Now I have 308 plus T is greater than or equal to 5 times 80 is,
400.
yep. Or what do I have to do to get T by itself?
You gotta subtract.
Subtract what?
38
Yep.
on both sides.
Does that mean I switch the symbol then too?
Maybe?
No, because they're both positive numbers.
Nope. Well, this we just subtracted stuff off. That's not why I don't switch the symbol. You're right, I do not switch the symbol. I only switch the symbol when what?
Is subtracting a negative?
Nope. When you are multiplying or dividing by a negative number. Multiplying or dividing. So make yourself a little thing you need to. Only switch symbol if multiplying, dividing by a negative. Don't forget that. Circle whatever it is, but you're not going to have the right answer if you don't. You guys remember when we were correcting in class the other day? You had a lot of them that you're like, oh, I'm going to switch it. Yeah. Well, now you don't have to. 308, that becomes 92. So that means if you're like, hey, I have 70, 75, 83, and 80. Those are my scores on a test. And I have one test left. And I want to average at 80 or more. Then I have to score at least 92 on this test. Because look at it. That's at your average, that's at your average. This is below your average. So these two kind of balance each other out, but this is still carrying down a little bit below 80. And this is 70. It's throwing your average way down. So that big number is that last number is gonna have to be way bigger. It's gonna be have to be all the way up at 92 to pull you back to where you want to be. I gotta practice one. We'll get to. I'm gonna do example 13 first. So at home, you guys can do kind of practice one right here, and then pause and come back here. We're gonna do example 13 now. So Kelly goes to an amusement park with her friends. The admission fee for the amusement park is $4. I'm gonna say for admission fee, and ride costs is 80 cents. They've got $25 to spend. How many rides can they go on? 25 to spend. So what we need to think here is how many, so they want to know how many rides can they go on. How many rides can go on. So you gotta think that she can spend, now I want you guys to help me, help set up what does the inequality look like on here. Because before, when we had the inequality, it looked like this. Well, not like that. This one, 70 plus 75 plus 83 plus 80 plus t over 5 is greater than or equal to 80. Here, we can spend, what, at least or at most $25? At least or at most $25? Which one? You don't need to look in there. Well, you might want to look in there if you're trying to figure out if it's greater than or less than.
Yeah.
Well, which one? Is it at least $25 you can spend, or at most you have to spend
At
25?
most.
At most. What does at most mean for the greater than or less than symbol? Well, it has this and 25, but is it greater than or less than?
Less
Less
than.
Yeah, because 25 has to be greater than. So what does this portion then look like? Because we have one side. We know that this needs to be less than or equal to 25. What does this side look like? I'll give you a clue. One of these you're going to be adding them, and one of them you're going to have a variable attached to it. One of these you're adding, so there's going to be some adding, and the other one has a variable attached to it. The one with the variable is, hey, how many times can I do this? Because you're trying to maximize what's the most amount of times I can do this. What are you trying to maximize? Are you trying to maximize how many times you can get into it,
The ride.
or how many times you can go on rides?
The ride.
The rides. So our variable, which this time is going to be
P.
P. 8/10 or 0.80 P plus $4. This $4, it's not attached to anything because you're not going into it more than one time. You're only doing it once, so you don't need to do anything multiplying. So you have 8/10 P plus 4 is less than or equal to 25. This is what you have to get to. This is the most challenging thing about this section, is can you get to this place? If you can get here, you can get the rest of the way home. If you cannot get here, you're gonna need to make sure you're taking extra notes and saying, all right, I need to write down what is it that I know? What is it that I'm looking for? What symbol am I trying to put in there? Because once you can get here, this is easy, right? You guys should know how to do this. This is not that challenging. But getting here sometimes can be a little bit more complicated. So to solve this, what's the last thing being done to P? Well, the first thing, multiplication comes first, then addition. So addition is last. We undo in the opposite order. Opposite of adding is subtracting 4. Does that mean I switch a symbol? No, because that symbol only gets switched when you are
Multiplying and
multiplying or dividing, so it's 21, 8/10 p, but I see, I'm even looking at advanced here and I'm saying, hey, if this is 8/10 p, I don't wanna divide by a decimal, because that's what I'm gonna have to do. I don't want us to divide by a decimal, so I mean instantaneously, I'm gonna change it to what? A fraction. I'm gonna say 4/5 p. If you wanted to say 8/10 p, because you can't do the 80/100ths to 4/5 in your head, you can do 8/10, and you just have to multiply by the reciprocal of 10/8 and 10/8 on this side, and then you're gonna end up reducing on the other side. It's always fastest if you can just say like, hey, I'm just gonna go 8/10 and then reduce to 4/5 because that's simplest form. Multiply by your reciprocal. Anything we can cancel over there?
The 21 and the 4.
How many times is 4 going to 21?
Maybe.
Nah, you can't do it. There's nothing that works out. This becomes 105 divided by 4. 4 times 10 is 2, 8, 25, 6. 6 times 4, 24. 1, well, it's going to be 1/4, which is 2,500 then, basically. So P is less than or equal to 26.25, 26 1/4. So basically that means how many times can you go on the rides? If P is less than or equal to 26.25, 26 and 2,500. What's the most amount of times that you can go on the rides? Because we're saying, how many rides can we go on? So the most rides we can go on is 26.25? Can you go on a ride a quarter of a time? If he's going on a ride and he's like, sorry, I have a quarter of a ride left, and he's like, alright, oh, sorry, I'm quarter way through, I have to get off now. Does that work? No, you can't do a quarter of the ride. You could try it. I don't think they let you do it.
You have to round.
So you have to round what? Up or down?
Down.
Down. What if this would have been 26.9?
Down.
You still have to write down because it is at most. You can't, because if you have that extra one, you only have this amount of rides to spend on. So if you don't have, it doesn't matter if this is 26.9999999. If this isn't 27, then you can't round it to 27. You have to round down. So at most, he can write on 26 rides, or she. I don't remember what the answer was. Yeah, at most she can write on 26 rides. Actually, when you got right here, 4 goes into this. As soon as I got the decimal here, I could have been done. I didn't need to do that because it doesn't matter. As long as I know, as long as 4 is not going to go into 1 more than once. So if I somehow I got like 5 here, then I knew I did my multiplication wrong, or I knew I did my division wrong. But as long as this is actually a decimal here, I can stop right here. I don't even need to write this stuff fully out. I don't need to write. I might have written like P is less than or equal to, but as soon as I see, hey, it's 26 and some change, I'm done. I don't need to, like, there could be 1, there could be 2, there could be 50 decimals there. I don't care, because as soon as I know, hey, it's 26 and some change, well, I can only max out at 26. I can't do whatever this extra stuff is, so I'm good when I can say at most 26 rides. That is the big answer we're actually looking for. Alright, and then at home you guys can do guided practice 2. And then back here we're going to do example 14. Theo wants to go to a gym. He calls 2 gyms. This is on page 237 if you're not paying attention. Theo wants to go to a gym. He calls 2 gyms to give 2 different payments. So gym A and gym B. So you got $100 fee for this one, and you've got a $75 fee for this one. This is a membership fee, so it's like a one-time thing. You have to pay it. Just based off this, which one would you choose? A or B? B, because it's cheaper, right? But that's the thing. You gotta pay $35 a month here, which is insanely expensive. I gotta tell you, my Planet Fitness one cost me like $18 a month.
Where?
Not even.
Where?
Planet Fitness, Pewaukee, where I live.
Oh.
And then the other one is $40 per month. That's also like insanely cheap though. I used to have a Y membership when I lived here in town. That was not so cheap. I did not, and I only use a treadmill, so I did not appreciate
The only two gyms
all the extra
in-
stuff.
The only two gyms in Fort are 50 and 30.
Yeah, I believe that. 30's not awful.
Yeah.
So then the next thing says, after how many months will gym A be less expensive than B? Because we know right away B is going to be less than A, right? If you go 1 month, 40 plus 75, $115, 100 plus 35, $135. So you know this is going to be cheaper. But the thing is, if you're looking at this, you need to say, how many months do I need to go here before I'm going to be able to, I'm going to actually be able to break even? So what's the best way to do it? Just guess and check? No. You know how I feel about the guess and check method. I don't like it at all. It's awful. Alright, so we've got, you can set up and, so we know that this one's going to be more at first, or this one's going to be less at first, but we want to know when this one is less. So we know 100 plus, remember this is like that $4 admission fee for the last one. This is the $100 fee, that's the flat rate. Anytime you say fee or you see fee or flat rate, or like you're gonna have to pay this a one-time payment, you automatically know that one's a loan. That's your big thing. $35, it even tells you, look, per month, per automatically means multiplication. $35 times our variable is, this time is Q. So 100 plus 35Q is less than 75 plus, well, that was weird.
That was a T.
75 plus, I got caught up in the T from last time, you know, all that gossip is good stuff, I really need it. 75 plus 40Q, and then you just solve it.
Yay.
Which variable do I want, which side do I want the variables on?
Left.
I want left? If I'm gonna make it into that, I can make it left, but look, if I get 40Q, if I subtract 40Q off this side, then I'm gonna end up with a negative variable. Do I want negative variables? No, because yes, I want the variable on the left side at the end, but if I have my variable on the right-hand side, I can always just flip it back and flip everything, including the sign. That's way easier, at least to me, that's way easier to me than having to remember, oh, I have a negative variable, do I want to multiply or divide by it? Oh man, am I doing it the right way? So it really doesn't matter which one. I would say, hey, I'm going to do subtract 35Q on both sides, and then that means you're getting 75 off this side. Get rid of those, get rid of those. I have 25 is less than 5Q, divide by 5, divide by 5. Q is greater than 5, or if I switch that around, Q is greater than 5. So that means if I want A to be cheaper than B, then I need to go there how many months? How many months do I need to go to A if I want to be greater than B? 5?
Q.
It said greater than 5.
75.
What?
75.
What? No, not 75. Yeah, anytime after 5 months would be good.
Oh, so 6.
Oh, I thought that said Q equals
But
75.
even, yeah, you can go back and you can check. You can say, hey, 35 times 5, 40 times 5. You can go in and you can check at that point. This will be less than that. 5 months. So you gotta go there at 5 months or more. Alright, then guided practice 3. So here in class you guys can start with guided practice 1 because that's the one that I went past right away. Guided practice 1, 2, and 3, and then I'll give you guys these.